The enigma of the OnePlus Nord 5.
Hi guys, it's Alex Bass here. Welcome to my channel. I finally got my hands on the OnePlus Nord 5 and this is the global version. However, there's been a little bit more compromises than necessary.
The Nord 5 starts from £399 here in Britain and about 35,000 rupees in India, but there will be discounts for sure. The phone still has IP65 rating. It should have been IP68 like its competitors, but that's a different issue. It's 211 grams of weight and the back is not exactly plastic. I think it's glass or something in between. The screen is covered by Gorilla Glass 7i and you do get a screen protector on top of it. The phone is not very thick and there's a power key now instead of an alert slider. On the top we do get two mics and an IR blaster. The power button and the volume rocker are on the top right hand side. We do get a dual SIM tray on the bottom but no eSIM support. OnePlus is tight-lipped on what protection is on the back, but the frame is plastic. The issue here is that OnePlus Nord 4 had a much more premium build.
OnePlus Nord 5 has a gorgeous 144Hz Super AMOLED screen. But is it 144Hz really?
OnePlus claims it's 144Hz, but you're gonna get to that later. It's a 6.83-inch Super AMOLED screen, very fluid, and it's 1 billion colors. Also 1.5K resolution with HDR10+, also very sharp at 450 pixels per inch. However, there's no Dolby Vision here. The phone gets decently bright in both manual and auto mode. There hasn't been much sunshine here in England, but I don't think you'll be having any problems using it outdoors. And now let's talk about that refresh rate. It does state it's 144 Hz. However, when you go to the apps, the maximum you can adjust an app is 120 Hz, and I tried that with all the apps. Then in the user interface, it's 120 Hz max, and also when you're web browsing, it's also 120 Hz max. What about gaming? Well, I tried my favorite Asphalt Legends and that was 90 Hz in the Android counter, but the game was showing at 45 frames per second. And then I tried Real Racing Free and I was pleasantly surprised that I hit 120 frames per second. Actually, it went even 122 and 120 Hz on the screen. Didn't hit 144, but I was absolutely delighted I hit 120.
Unfortunately, I did not see the claimed 144Hz refresh rate in any of the tasks I did. I mean, in absolutely none of them. The phone went to more than 120 Hz.
Well, at least that was the case until I tried 3 other games that I definitely knew that can go up to 144 Hz, and I eventually hit it with the game Standoff 4. That went to 144 Hz on the screen. However, the frame rate didn't go above 73 frames per second. It's not exactly what I expected or what was advertised, but I still managed to hit 144 Hz. It was something.
So the OnePlus Nord 5 can go up to 144 Hz in only one such scenario, and that is still pretty disappointing. On the other hand, 120 Hz is still smooth enough, so it's not that bad at all.
Netflix recognizes OnePlus Nord 5 as HDR10 compliant, and you can also get HDR video in YouTube in, of course, relevant content. You can also stream HDR10 Plus content in Amazon Prime, which is great. You can even choose between 1.5K or Full HD resolution. The HDR performance of the screen is more than decent. The colors are punchy, the shadows and the highlights are also well managed. You won't be disappointed with the picture no matter if you're watching a movie or a TV show or animation or sports. Even if there is no Dolby Vision, the screen is still great for this mid-range class. Nord 5 gets a pair of stereo speakers and they do sound good, but you don't get Dolby Atmos support here. There are several scenarios you can choose from and it's all reality. There is no spatial audio for headphones or earbuds, but you do get all the major important Bluetooth codecs for HD audio.
Moving on to the software, it is the Oxygen OS, of course, gorgeous, slick and smooth as ever.
The phone is running on Android 15 out of the box, and on top of it you do get Oxygen OS 15. Now you get 4 years of software updates and 6 years of security patches. There are some pre-installed apps, but you can easily clear them out. Oxygen OS is a joy to use, it's awesome, and now you do get a 72-month A rating for fluency from TU File Sud. That means the phone's going to be as smooth in 6 years from now as it was on day one. The alert slider has been replaced with a power key, and you can use it and customize it in several ways, just like on the iPhone and other phones. I still prefer the ring, silent and vibration mode, but it's up to you what you want to use here. And of course you do get Ultra HDR in the Google Photos app, along with the major AI features in it. Speaking of AI features, the OnePlus Nord 5 has plenty of them, and they are implemented better than most of the competition. The phone has Gemini, which is great. There are great AI features on this phone, such as the AI search. You can type it in and the phone's going to find it for you, or you can voice it in with a microphone and the phone's going to locate it for you again. Always on display. There's also the sidebar, and then you can use the AI summary. You're looking at a web page or anything else, and it's going to analyze what's on the screen and make the summary for you. It can also voice it to you, which is great. You can also save that summary in the notes, and there you can locate it later on and view it.
Moving on to performance, the OnePlus Nord 5 is powered by Qualcomm's Snapdragon 8S Gen 3 from last year.
You can improve the performance from the battery settings, and from the balance mode you can go into high performance mode, something typical of Realme and Oppo phones too. There are 3 configurations here, and this one in my hand is the 8GB of RAM and 256GB of storage. There is no 16GB version this year. Initially I was disappointed it's not the 8S Gen 4 from this year, but quickly I realized the 8S Gen 3 is the better option, and I'm gonna explain why. Yes, the 8S Gen 4 is more powerful in terms of raw performance, however, it cannot sustain load under stress and it overheats easily. I tried it on the Poco F7 and on the much more expensive Nothing Phone 3, and it overheated both times. It was very difficult to hold it in the hand, and Nothing Phone 3 is a phone that costs a lot more than the OnePlus Nord 5. There is no point in having a more powerful chipset when its performance starts to suffer quickly and it overheats and the frame rates start to drop drastically. That's where the 8S Gen 3 is much better, and as you can see, it's acing the stress tests. Over 80% stability. This is outstanding. Those results mainly of course apply to gaming, but it also goes for heavy multitasking and CPU. As I said, the 8S Gen 3 is not as powerful as the 8S Gen 4, but still the raw performance is good and strong, as you can see, and most importantly it is stronger than last year's OnePlus Nord 4 with its 7 Plus Gen 3 chipset.
This is the global version, so there is another downgrade here, and that's the battery. It's now 5200 mAh, down from 5500 on the OnePlus Nord 4. India, however, gets a bigger battery, which is great for India.
A much bigger battery indeed.
OnePlus also downgraded the fast charging from 100 watts to 80 watts, including India, which is pretty annoying.
Here in Europe we don't get a charger, but some markets like India do get a charger. I charge the phone from empty with an original 80 watt SuperVOOC charger from OnePlus. In 30 minutes I got very good 74% charge. You can charge the phone with any 80 watt charger, but it's gonna be slower than this of course. A full charge took 50 minutes. However, that's still a far cry from the 28-30 minutes on the OnePlus Nord 4, and that's pretty disappointing. Still, battery life is rock solid. I did not do any specific numbers, but the phone did not disappoint me. I did phone calls, web browsing, and also watching videos, and the standby performance of the phone is also pretty good. It was dropping by 1 to maximum 2% overnight, which is great. Now let's wrap it up with the cameras.
The camera has been improved, especially the selfie.
The main snapper has been upgraded to Sony Litia 700, and the ultra-wide is now OmniVision OV08 D10, still 8 megapixel though, boo! The biggest upgrade is in the selfie. Now we get a 50 megapixel ISO cell Gen 5 with autofocus and 4K video. The selfies are absolutely outstanding. They are sharp, they are clean, they're detailed. The high dynamic range is excellent. You can also do a ultra wide main or just a little bit close-up shot. Colors are spot on, and even the indoor selfies are very good. The separation of the subject in portrait mode is also excellent. The shots from the main camera are not bad at all. The detail is very good, the colors are pretty accurate, and also the dynamic range is wide enough. The ultra-wide shots are sharper than I expected, but they're still not that good. The colors are great though, and also probably that's the maximum they can squeeze from that much maligned 8 megapixel sensor. The 2x zoom shots are also surprisingly clean and detailed. They are very usable during the day. The night selfies are also very detailed, and the colors are good, and the dynamic range is excellent. The exposure and the contrast are also good. I simply don't have any complaints here. The nighttime shots from the main camera are satisfactory. There is a good amount of detail, and also they are overall sharp and clean. The shadows are a bit probably too bright, and maybe there is some clipped highlights. However, I'm very happy with the performance of it nonetheless. The ultra wide snaps have a surprisingly good high dynamic range. I'm not saying it is great, but just better than expected. And also the colors are still fine. The softness, of course, and the lack of detail are unavoidable here, so it's best not to use it really. The 2x zoom shots are merely okay, nothing special, but occasionally usable. Selfie video is 4K up to 60 frames per second. This one here is 30 frames per second. Let me just adjust it a little bit. There we go, a little bit better. And now I can do 0.8 or 1, or if you want to do it very close. Let me know what you think. The video stabilization at 4K, 30 frames and 60 frames per second respectively. It's a bit shaky, but I've seen much worse, so I'm not going to be overly critical here. The quality of the video from the main camera is excellent, and it is good from the other two cameras, but let me know in the comments what you think. Ultra wide, 1080p 30 frames per second, that's the only one I... .4K main camera at 60 frames per second. Two times zoom, crop from the main camera, of course, 4K 60 frames per second.
Well, there you have it, folks, the OnePlus Nord 5. The mystery of the build. Is this glass? Is it plastic? Is it glastick? Well, we'll never know probably. The mystery of the screen, 144 Hz. In what scenarios? I only got one. It's otherwise very smooth 120 Hz like most other phones. It's a great screen nonetheless. It lacks Dolby Vision, but it is what it is. Not bad at all. Performance is great and sustainable under load too. And also the stereo speakers are nice. Too bad about the IP rating. It should be an IP67 at least. It's IP65. It's a miss really. And the camera performance is better than most of its competitors. However, all in all, this phone fails to stand out in a very crowded market segment, and this mid-range market is very competitive. Is this phone good enough for you? Well, at the end of the day, you decide. Thanks very much for watching and see you next time. Ciao!